Hey, what's up? New setup, new me. On our play for this week, did this LinkedIn post reveal Blizzard's next game as a PVE Overwatch title? Maybe. Astrobot isn't even out yet, but they're already teasing a sequel?
Take my money.
Strange. And Star Wars Outlaws is out and already dealing with a game breaking bug, or should I say game resetting bug. We have more Black Myth Wukong impressions and Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta. Is it more of the same or is it worth jumping in this year? All this and more on season 8, episode 35 of Press X Start Gamers Digest. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka look at the colors in the background. I got a little upgrade and I'm ready to continue playing my games on PlayStation 5. Gotcha! I am joined by
John MF Ross.
What does the MNF stand for?
Monkey fighting.
Oh, you're right. Look at that. There are terrible jokes that we can make about that, but we're not doing that because we are a podcast of culture. All right, now you know who our Press X Start Gamers Digest is, a video podcast that condenses the most important gaming news from this past week into an hour-long meal just for you. We're live on YouTube every Sunday, except for when there's a holiday like today. And happy Labor Day to all the people who are and are not working.
It's Sunday somewhere. Australia.
Yeah,
Zimbabwe.
exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, shout out to you people in the past. Oh, yes. Every Sunday / Monday when we can make it because life is hard.
But listening to us is easy.
Yes, it is. All right. Don't forget you can support us by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, this channel, and hitting that notification bell. Yes, do it. Hit that like. Subscribe, notification, get it. If you are listening, we greatly appreciate you leaving us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever podcast service you're currently tuned in on. And tell your friends. Tell your friends about us. We'd greatly appreciate that. And if you want to join our conversation, you can join our Discord by joining at pressx2start.com/Discord. Man, I say that stuff so much, so quickly that it kind of just loses meaning in my own head. It's weird.
You're like the terms and conditions.
Yes. All right. Now that we have that all taken care of, let us jump into the gaming news. Number 1. Astrobot sequel is already being teased. Maybe, kind of. This comes to us from Gamer Rant by way of Virarji Bhatnagar.
What you doing here?
The last name is a little. Yeah, we'll go with that one. All right. So now the trophies for the upcoming PlayStation first party title Astrobot seemingly tease a sequel for the 3D platformer. Even though Astrobot is less than a week out from its launch on September 6th, that's this week.
By the time y'all hear this, it'll be out.
Yes, it will be. It appears developer team Asobi may already have future plans lined up for where. Oh, you can actually see me turn down. No, you can't. Okay, cool. Future plans lined up for where the Tearful Robot will show up next. As the biggest, most ambitious entry in the series so far, there's a lot of anticipation surrounding Astrobot. This is just editorializing. Okay, so basically, the nuts and bolts is that there is a trophy that states, okay, actually, here it is. Okay. So in the trophy, it says essentially, see you in the next adventure. And people are looking at this like, oh, is that like the last trophy you get in the game? And it's just like, all right, we'll see you for the next adventure as in a sequel. Or what I kind of think this is DLC. Like, that's the easiest choice right here. They've made this game. They know it's going to do well. They know it plays well because everyone's talking so highly of this game. Of course, they're going to have some kind of extended or expansion content that's going to happen with this game. So to me, it seems like,
I don't see a whole nother adventure in a DLC. I don't think they've ever done that for an Astro game, have they?
Well, I mean, the Astro games have been on VR, so it's been kind of, I guess, the first Astro game was on VR. Second was the little playroom demo.
I guess.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just saying, like, mm,
yeah. So the actual text is "See you in Astro's next adventure," and it's one of those things where I think the hope is that they're already saying like, "Hey, look, we got a sequel lined up." Again, we haven't played the game. I
yeah.
think I think the review bargo is up on the 4th. I could be wrong, but I know a bunch of video game press are playing the game this weekend. So we will be hearing a bunch of stuff from this game once people go back to work tomorrow. Actually, the embargo might be up tomorrow. I think that makes sense. But yeah, we'll be hearing about this game soon before releases later this week. So it should be really interesting. Should be really exciting. I'm excited for this game. I know Sean's excited for this game. It is one of those things where this came out of nowhere. I think there was rumors of it, but it just really came out of nowhere. And I am hoping that this tops my like game of the year because this is exactly what I want. And I can't wait to introduce like London to this and kind of get her like more integrated in gaming. So we'll see.
And start her
We'll
off
see.
with the original Prince of Persia.
Right?
Done.
This is what struggle feels like.
Yeah, take her back.
I mean, as I told you earlier, like I'm starting her with Mario Wonder, and it's like it's fun. It's interesting watching her because again, she's 3, so I'm not expecting her to do much. But like
Yeah,
earlier today, she managed to jump on one of the Goombas and it exploded, and she was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, yeah, try it again. Of course, she just didn't align the stars properly and couldn't do it again.
it'd be
But
like that.
yeah, she'll get it. Number 2, Chris McCabe, Cab, Cabe, Cabe. Overwatch 2's production manager as of June 2024 is also heading an unannounced RPG FPS by Blizzard Entertainment via his LinkedIn profile.
Interesting.
Very interesting. This comes to us essentially from Twitter. It just comes to us from Twitter. Um,
I
there's been
don't
a
know if I
couple
care.
of. Say it again.
I don't know if I care.
Yeah, so this is kind of it's one of those things where they had a chance of really striking when the iron was hot and they
Yeah,
totally just whiffed. So if this is Overwatch, that PVE mode that was supposed to come to us, they said that okay, we're going to actually break it in chunks and give it to you that way, and then they just scrap the whole thing. If this is that, I think that's awesome for those people who are still playing Overwatch, like
yeah,
Marcus, talking to you, and who really wanted that PVE content. And I feel like this is sort of what we wanted from the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard, like giving them enough space, enough money, essentially, to do those projects that they couldn't get complete funding for, or they couldn't put in the time to do, and like now they'll be able to do that. So I think in that realm, this is awesome, but it is the thing of like, as you say, like I don't really care. And it's a thing of like, we know this is not coming out
anytime
in
soon.
2 years. This is not coming out in 3 years. This is probably going to take some time because it's going to be a story mode kind of game. And I think we are going to be, this time next year, I believe, we'll be in a world with GTA 6. And like that literally can
Is
and will
anything
change
else gonna
everything.
matter at that point?
Exactly. Yeah. So it is a weird thing of like, all
Not
right,
even that.
man.
They just lost a lot of cachet with the whole blunder from Overwatch
Overwatch
1 to
2.
2. Like, just,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was never really big on Blizzard stuff anyway. So
Yeah. On top of that, we're going to be in a world with Marvel Rivals just out and about doing
oh yeah,
stuff.
Marvin. I don't give a damn about
Yeah.
that.
But it's like, these factors are going to come in play when it comes to
Yeah,
whatever. Like, and again, we are assuming that this is going to be Overwatch PVE. It's going to be something completely new. And if that's the case, then that's cool. Can't wait to see the trailer and maybe get hyped for that to see exactly what it is.
yeah.
But yeah, as it is right now, this is basically what we we're kind of assuming what this would be, and this kind of just makes sense in terms of it being Blizzard and Blizzard's properties and so on and so forth. Number 3. Early Star Wars Outlaws PS5 players paid $110 only to have Ubisoft issue a new patch and tell them to start a new save file or face game-breaking bugs.
This
This comes
game
to
didn't even
us,
look that good enough to drop 110 on to play early.
but it's Star Wars. And Star Wars always sells, and there's a bunch of people who are just so hungry for any Star Wars content, gaming-wise. And, it just played into that. So this article comes to us from Dustin Bailey. So yeah, basically what's happening here is that the people who got the early copies of the game, who played the game, they got up to a certain point where Ubisoft released a patch, but was unable to retroactively address the bugs for people who already played the game. So in order for this patch to work for those players, they have to restart their game. And you can't just turn the game off, turn the game on, and then just like load your old save. You got to basically delete that old save.
I wonder how long before they how early did they get to play it?
I think it's a couple days, like 3 days, I think.
Because not the stereotype, but some gamers 2-3 days past my there. I didn't put in 50-60 hours, so
Yes. And I already beat the game. So, yeah, man. And it's one of the things where I believe, because like they are calling out PlayStation 5, so this could be a PlayStation 5 specific bug, and Xbox players are, fine. I'm assuming because they are saying PS5
delivery
a lot.
Look at
There you go. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks to be a PlayStation gamer sometimes. But yeah, I mean, like this, the fact that they paid $110 also stings for the fact that or at least $110, because there's also a $130 version of the Ultimate Edition.
You know what you could do with $110? That's at least
play a game that it's not going to crash on you.
11 dances. Go ahead.
Yes, 11 dances at the club. I feel like we're gonna get a bunch of queries. What do you mean? Where is his 11 dances? So yeah, this sucks. It's one of the things where this is sort of the pitfalls of pre-ordering, trying to get into early access, because essentially you are part of the beta testing. You're paying money to do it. Like, it sucks. It just sucks. All right. The next thing is kind of it hurts my heart, but we're going to talk about Hideaki
Itsuno.
Yes, his first name kills me all the time. That A trips me up. I just can't do it. But yeah, Itsuno is going to be leaving Capcom. But yes, more on that after this. Hey, you thought I was going to go to a break? No, I'm just trying to get you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, the notification bell. Do it. Once you do that, we can get back into the news. If you're listening and you're just like, I don't have a button to hit, just leave us a review. Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Press the nearest light switch. Do something.
Yes. Turn your car on and off. Just do it.
I'm riding.
It doesn't matter if you're driving. Just try
it. We don't stop.
So yes, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, whatever podcast service you're using. It could be Spotify, it could be Apple Podcasts. I just said that could be YouTube Music, it could be Stitcher. I don't know, whatever you're using. Just leave us a review there and just let us know that you left us a review so we can look at it and read it, maybe on the cast if it's a cool one. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let us jump back in. Yes, number 4, Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma director Itsuno is leaving Capcom after 30 years to make a new game in a new environment.
Interesting.
This comes to us from GamesRadar by way of Khan Sarin. Yeah. So, as the title suggests, Itsuno is leaving Capcom. This isn't really anything new for the really like big old school like Japanese devs. We had the creator of Mega Man leave at this point years ago. I believe the same for the Resident Evil creator. And of course, in worse circumstances, we had Kojima leave Konami as well. So again, this is nothing new. I mean, it is just amazing that he's been there for 30 years and he's worked on Devil May Cry, he's worked on Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
And I think for me, this kind of squashes the idea or the hope of Dragon's Dogma 2 DLC because he'd be the one to work on it. So if he's not there, I don't
I mean,
think
not
Capcom.
necessarily. We got a yeah, was it Metal Gear Solid? Even though what's the name wasn't there?
Oh, that's true. That is true.
That's
That
their
is
property,
true. Yeah,
not
you're not
his.
wrong. The thing is, I am super excited. Okay, so actually, let me just go ahead and just read his actual. Oh, this is just. I got a little ad on the link, so it's just blocking about half the screen. Thanks, Google. Ugh. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and just read the tweet. I have an announcement for all my followers. At the end of August 2024, I will be leaving Capcom after 30 years in 5 months. Check out the 5 months. Thank you for your long-term support of the games and the characters I have been responsible for. I hope you will continue to support Capcom games and characters. From September, I will start developing a new game in a new environment. I hope to create fun, beautiful games that are as memorable as, or even more memorable than, the ones I have created so far. Please stay tuned for my next creation. Itsuno. So this is just a little theory crafting here.
Yeah.
I think two things can happen. He can either be picked up and funded by Xbox and they give him a team because they've always been trying to figure out a way of gaining support in like the Asian markets and Japan and stuff. And I think this would be a interesting way of doing that. Although we know that they aren't necessarily like doing completely well cash wise or money wise. So it might be a risk they're not worth taking. Microsoft. Because Game Pass isn't I mean, like the idea that Game Pass is supposed to be fueling all this stuff and Game Pass isn't really.
I mean, they say it's profitable.
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, yes. Those words has come out of Phil Spencer's mouth. Yes, it's up to you to believe that, though. But like, I think that's one route. But I think the other route is that PlayStation actually grabs them and essentially does the same thing, where it's just like, hey, you can be a second party. Here's your team. Figure out what you want to make, and we'll get the ball rolling. I mean, he can also just go independent, and like that'd be like a complete third option. But I think in this market now, it is, at least from what I have understood it to be, difficult to really do a new team and build a game right now. Does this do anything for you? Because you weren't big in Dragon's Dogma. Did you play Devil May Cry? No?
I played a few of them. I didn't play the last one.
Yeah.
I enjoy them. They're not, like say Marcus, but
yeah. And you know what? That's actually another thing too, because it's I often have to remind myself that as much as I love Dragon's Dogma, and I was appreciative of the success that Dragon's Dogma 2 like had, I don't necessarily consider him like a top tier developer. Like he's a good developer. Like
it's not like he's
like a Kojima or something.
Yeah.
Or
Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's like,
or hell, who makes yeah, damn, I can't.
Reggie Fils-Aimé.
No. That's another Japanese dude. He's cool.
Oh, he wears a leather jacket.
You know exactly who I was talking about. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yes.
don't know his name.
When you said cool, it was just like the one guy. It's that guy. Hey man, look, hey, y'all listeners, if y'all know who we're talking about, please just tell us like in our you could join our Discord. Let us know who we're trying to figure out. We're not gonna sit here and just like Google. Well, I guess Sean's about to Google
I mean, you can keep going. Hey,
right? Japanese developer with leather jackets. Oh man. So yeah, it is a thing of just like, I wish him, of course, I wish him all the success in the world in this new game. I hope that it maybe shows up sometime. Like, I guess we get some kind of inkling of what this game is going to be sometime this year, maybe
Hideki
PlayStation
Kamiya?
State. Yeah. Yeah, that's the name that I always want to read when I see his name.
I put in Japanese game developer with leather jacket.
Yeah. Yeah. And what did he do?
Bayonetta and a couple
Bayonetta.
other things.
Yes. Yeah.
Resident Evil 2, Beautiful Joe Okami, Wonderful 101, Scalebound.
Yes.
He was the creator of Devil May Cry.
Yeah. Okay. So it is a thing of I I am so fascinated to see like where he shows up and if he shows up under the umbrella of one of the big like um maybe or the one of the big three. But we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. Um Number 5. Black Ops 6 Gold Lightning weapon skin is locked behind a $350 Wunderwaffle replica.
Boys.
Is a way of making money. This comes to us from the gamer by way of wait a minute, there we go. Johnny Flores Jr. Yeah, so as the title suggests, man, it's just if you want this one cool skin, you gotta spend $350. so, mm, so here's the thing, right? And this article actually calls it out that Activision revealed that the whole carry forward feature that was present in Modern Warfare 2 to 3, I believe it was Modern Warfare the first one to Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3, where you essentially carried forward all your skins that you have purchased up into Modern Warfare 3. And they said that from going from Modern Warfare 3 to Black Ops 6, they're canning that. They're not doing that. And is the thing of it kind of makes sense in that like Modern Warfare themes of Modern Warfare 3 is different from the themes in Black Ops 6. So that part makes sense.
I mean, they carried some stuff over from Cold War, didn't they?
Cold
Like,
War.
what's
Yes.
the difference this time?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And like, the obvious truth is that you're just gonna basically
Buy it
just
again,
reset.
and you're gonna like it.
You're gonna reset everything to have to buy everything again. And like even opening up the beta and looking at the characters, and it's like, oh, this character has absolutely no skins attached to it. And it's like, oh, this is kind of just weird to see. And then it's like one character has like 3 skins, and you're like, oh, okay. So this is not even like a balanced thing where every person gets at least one skin. It's just like whatever they feel like doing at the time. So it's weird, but I guess just going back to this, it's like, this you get this. I will say it's a cool looking skin, but you gotta pay $350 for this cool looking skin, and it just goes on a gun, and it's just like not remotely worth it. Not remotely worth it.
People got money.
Oh man, yeah. So there is that. But again, if you are a Black Ops super stan and you have if $350 is burning a hole in your pocket, hey man, go
I
get
mean,
this thing.
they're playing on people's nostalgia for the original
Oh, absolutely.
zombies, and I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The skin don't look that cool.
No, yeah. It doesn't look $350 worth. Cool. I'll tell you that right now.
Ain't no skin worth $350.
Hey. My skin is worth $350.
I'm sure you can fetch a lot more than that, DJ. You look.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, $350 is actually not that much. Oh
Granted,
no,
what was
I played
$350
myself.
worth back then? Continue. I'm curious. So,
What do you say back then? Okay. Yes, more Black Ops stuff. Number 6, Call of Duty voice form, giving enemy players a way to scream at you inches from your ear by using you as a meat shield. This comes to us from GamesRadar by way of High Run Crier. So yeah, I don't even need to read this. So essentially, what this is talking about is that one of the new features in. Oh, go ahead. You-
the
That was
average
dropping
price of a
knowledge.
slave was like $150 to $200. So three
Oh,
is high end. I mean,
yeah. So I'd be like a S
better get it.
class, maybe
You
A
better get your money's
class.
worth. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry. I fucked up. I'm sorry.
Hey, we can make this joke, okay? Only us. You hear us? Only us.
Marcus might want
So
that.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Happy early Black History Month, guys. So yeah, so essentially in Black Ops 6, there is a new feature that allows you to essentially run up behind somebody and grab them and essentially use them as a meat shield. And that turns on a like proximity chat between you and the person that you have
That's like
helped got
one of the
hostage.
only reasons I want to play this game.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah,
talk shit in somebody's ear.
yeah. Like, and the thing is, I have my audio stuff set to only just be talking to like friends,
Mhm.
and that is literally the only thing that I'm just like, man, maybe I should just switch it to everyone,
So I
and
guess it
then just
doesn't break
like,
through that.
no, it doesn't break through that.
Mm.
Yeah. But I mean, I've done it a couple times, but of course, because I have my audio settings like to stop that, I didn't really get to talk to them. But it is a very interesting thing, and it's I wonder if they're going to tweak the actual feature itself, because once you get captured, you can't do anything, and it's about 20 seconds or so of them like they can like have you, and they can either quickly execute you. Yeah, that sucks. But it's like they can either quickly execute you or just like do the like drawn
Carry
out
you
like
around. Yeah.
animated, yeah, or yeah, like the drawn out execution, or like carry you around. So it essentially could put you in a position where it's like, oh
I wonder if
no,
there's an
like
option to release you.
no, there's no option to release it. It's just kill.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But I mean, if a player comes by, if your teammate comes by and shoots the
Oh,
person
the
that
guy
has
holding
you,
you.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, then you're like free to go. But it is very interesting. I'm gonna talk more about it during the beta or during our impressions.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is pretty much that, and it does. I think that feature in itself will create a bunch of viral videos online because
Can you
you
imagine
know,
that back in the heyday, though? That
yeah,
would have been awesome.
that would be oof. Yeah. So number 7, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta already has cheaters. Of course, you can't get through a Call of Duty game without having cheaters. So this comes to us from Gamer Rant by way I'm sorry, Game Rant by
Yeah.
way of Rahman Shurkat. Shurkat.
Oh gosh.
There we go. There you go. So again, this is just another thing where whenever Call of Duty drops, there are always people that figure out how to cheat the game because it's a very popular game and people just want to win. So they do whatever they have to do to win. And this is what they do. The weird actually thing about this is that the Black Ops anti cheat, this is actually not a part of this story. This is another story that I read. The Black
Yeah.
Ops anti cheat was actually in hyperdrive,
Mhm.
and was actually banning like, you know,
Streamers.
popular streamers, yeah,
Yeah, I saw that.
because they were
Crazy.
doing like so well or whatever. And it's like, oh, that's interesting how you were catching them, but not actually catching the actual cheaters. But
Mm.
I don't know. I'm not a developer. Um, so yeah, cheaters has always been a persistent problem within the Call of Duty franchise, with hackers consistently managing to circumvent the developers' ongoing efforts to address the issue. The most recent surge in cheating coincided with the release of Modern Warfare 3 on Xbox Game Pass. We actually talked about that in the past. In response, the franchise implemented a series of decisive measures, including banning over 65,000 accounts to
That's
clear ranked play leaderboards, targeting lobby scraping apps, and rolling out significant updates to the Ricochet anti cheat system to improve its effectiveness. Um, uh, Obviously, all that kind of just went out the window when Black Ops were released because teachers just kind of came back and just started doing things. And I actually think that part of the part of the uptick in cheaters
hmm
what happened because the beta build was like out in the public for so long, so they were probably able to like really
work on
dissect
that.
it and figure out,
Yeah.
yeah. So and there was nothing really that Activision could do about that because that's the build that they were going to put out, so they can't just quickly build another build. So yeah, it sucks, but of course, this is the ebb and flow of Call of Duty. Like they will get that stuff figured out, they'll get that stuff fixed, and the game will just be its normal bang bang shoot shoot that it normally does. Just gotta wait.
Yep.
Um, Number 8. Tencent and NetEase cut their investments in Japan, with visions of Mana Devs Ouka Studios at risk of closure. I think it's actually closing now. Not a risk anymore. This comes to us from Game World Observer. So yeah, so this is a very interesting thing. It sucks that the visions of Mana Devs are essentially closing down because money is just being pulled out of them because they just didn't. I guess the actual game wasn't that well received. Um, so yeah, here are some essentially takeaways. This is talking about the Bloomberg report that was the main source. So
Yeah.
NetEase laid off almost all of the staff of its subsidiary uh, Ouka Studios, which just launched action RPG Visions of Mana.
It actually
The
looks pretty cool.
company, I love the art style. I think the art style looks really really cool.
Yeah.
Um, the company has been cutting jobs since this spring, currently considering closing the studio entirely. NetEase told Bloomberg that it had nothing to announce on this matter. That means that they're going to do that.
Mm.
Tencent has already scaled back investment in Japan, pulling out of several funding commitments for new games due to its frustration with the lack of ambition among local developers. Hmm. Japanese studios prefer to make smaller scale, lower risk projects, while Tencent wants to invest in projects with global appeal and franchise potential. At the same time, both Tencent and NetEase plan to continue their partnership with major Japanese companies like Capcom and Bandai Namco. So, what's going on here is at least what I understand to be happening is that Tencent and NetEase, they're both Chinese companies, and
Yep.
they are essentially starting to weigh the scales of moving their money out of Japan and moving their money into the Chinese developers and supporting those Chinese developers because you have games like Black Myth Wukong that came out that's doing massive. We have like Phantom Blade Zero that's supposed to be coming out in 2026. Like we're getting shown these like Chinese and other Asian developers that are not Japanese developers like are really starting to do stuff and starting to make waves. And I think this is just putting a spotlight on the Japanese developers in that they are pretty much playing it safe. They're not really trying to make like really like as the article says like global appealing games. They're just trying to stick to their small stuff and not spend too much money
I
essentially.
mean, that's fine.
It is. It really is. Yeah. And it's one of the things where it's like, okay, well, it's okay if Tencent
It's
and
okay to
NetEase are
have
pulling out of this
variety in the
stuff.
market. Everything doesn't have to be
Yeah.
a big budget blockbuster AAA quadruple A game.
Exactly, because when that fails, you end up closing a bunch of studios and stuff, and like
hmm
that's not really how the Japanese like infrastructure works when it comes to game development. They don't like shutting down studios. They want to keep the people employed because that's a whole big thing over there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so this is one of those things where we're are we going to see the after effects of this? Not for a while, unless they like close something down really quickly. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think what we could see is probably by this time next year, we'll see just a couple more like Chinese, maybe Korean developer games like coming to show, like, coming to us and like showing us like, oh, this new game that's coming out, whatever. I don't think this is really gonna hamper too much the Japanese developer market just because they are just so solid. And there's Sony that's supporting them, there's Nintendo that's supporting them, so they're still okay. But yeah, again, this just sucks for the Visions of Mana team that is getting caught in the crossfire with this. All right, let us jump into the quick hits. Number 9. After 13 years, roguelike icon The Binding of Isaac is finally getting online multiplayer just in time for Rebirth's anniversary. This comes
Awesome.
to us from GamesRadar. Are you excited for this, Sean?
Man, I put a lot of time into this game when it came out for free
Yes, you
on
did.
PS. I bought it
Yes, you
on.
did.
I got it for free on PlayStation. I think I bought it again on the Switch when it came out. I think I bought it at least 2 3 times, and I put over 1,000
Yes.
something hours into it. That said, they did release more expansions after I was done with it, but I was just so far gone. And like the article says, it always had offline multiplayer, but people were kind of grossed out by it or felt it
Mm-hmm.
was sacrilegious because it has a lot of biblical themes. So I never really had anybody to play it with. Um, that said, I don't know. It doesn't specify if the online multiplayer has matchmaking or you're just gonna have to play with friends. So,
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
so I don't know if I can convince anybody to actually play this, and I don't know if I'm even good at this game anymore. So,
Yeah,
because
you have to get those
it's a
skills
bullet
back.
hell game. It's a
Yeah,
roguelike bullet
yeah,
hell game, and not everybody's into that. So
yeah.
I'm glad that he's still putting time into it, but it'd be nice to see a sequel of sorts or something.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those like, oh, this is cool. Like this is a way of getting people to, draw eyes and attention to it because the anniversary is supposed to be coming. So that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool though.
Um,
I'm glad.
yeah.
Glad for them.
Number 10. Yoshi P on bringing Final Fantasy 14 to Nintendo consoles. Mhm. We're having conversations, making progress. Hopefully, we'll have news soon. This comes to us from Game Reactor UK by way of, where are you? Right here, by way of Alberto Gar- Garrido. Garrido. So, yes, essentially, I think what this is getting at is that we are going to see Final Fantasy 14 on Nintendo Switch 2. Is the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be strong enough to be able to support games like this? We are seeing, we saw Guilty Gear Strive jump on the Switch, and it's one of those things where they're just priming their game engines to be able to support the Switch to Switch 2 pipeline, and that
Yeah,
was probably just able to just run on the Switch as is. So yeah, expect probably next year when we get more Switch 2 stuff to see like more of the AAA third party games on that console, which was actually supposed to happen for the Switch 1, but it didn't happen. Um, so yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. And then the last up for the quick hits. PS5 increase in Japan sent Xbox consoles soaring up sales charts. This comes from Automation West. So this is the aftermath of yeah, the for
price
a
increase.
weird
Yeah,
random reason, yeah, a weird random reason, like PlayStation prices are increasing. Um, the actual backstory is that one, that this has been slowly happening, and two, it seems that with the
I think I put the
release of,
reason in there somewhere. Go
oh,
ahead.
did you? Oh, okay.
I had to do something with the economy over there.
Yeah.
The yen is
Yeah, the
becoming worth less.
yes. So yeah, the yen is weakening over there, so that is also making things cost more to compensate for that. On top of that, it seems that with Black Myth Wukong dropping, the actual PS5 supplies in China has been super low. I guess not super low, has been low, and they have been importing PlayStation 5s from Japan. So there was an increase like purchasing of PS5s was actually moving over to China. And this could also be a way of like compensating for that like whole import export stuff that's happening. So the actual prices is the PS5 disk drive is going to go from this is all in US because dollar bills. This is going to go from $463 to $552. The digital edition will start at 414 and then that will be moved to 504. And then for context, the Xbox Series X was the Xbox Series X is $460. Series S $345. So that just makes those consoles a lot cheaper in that, the prices is just increasing for the PS5. And the other side to it is that PlayStation has the Asian and Japanese market so locked in place that they can afford to do something like this and not
Yeah.
worry about people not buying the console, especially knowing, they're going to have Astrobot dropping in days at this point, and that's going to be such a big seller, especially for the Japanese market. So they are doing this stuff within their own reasoning. I mean, it sucks that the stuff is going to cost more outside the US, but, this is what they figured out to make more money before they release their PS5 Pro, which is
It would
also
be
going to be another thing.
suicide to do it over here to raise the prices after so long,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
try to charge even more than that for the PS5 Pro whenever that gets announced. Like,
Hmm. Yeah. I was trying to find because I remember seeing the like
oh, so the PS5 Pro design allegedly leaked, and I mean, it looks
yeah.
like the PS5 Slim. This is a off number quick hit.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It looks like the PS5 Slim. For those who haven't seen the PS5 Slim, it looks like there are four plates to the Slim,
Yeah.
and it has like a line in the middle. And basically, the PS5 Pro looks like it has three lines, I guess, for whatever
Yeah.
extra hardware they have in there. And my theory for that was so that they don't have 3 to 4 different types of plates that you can replace on the PlayStation. So I'm guessing this is to make the plates from the PS5 Slim
Yeah.
usable on the
Fit with the
Pro.
Pro. Yeah. And I think the expectation, or I guess the unset expectation, is to expect that the PS5 Pro is going to launch without a disk drive, and then you can
Yeah.
just get that same disk drive that you could for the Slim, and it works with the Pro.
Hmm.
So yeah, uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have too much to say about that. It's just I don't know what it's gonna cost, and I fear that they could be like off some PS3 BS and be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be $650, $700. I don't know.
If
That'd
I
be
get it,
crazy.
I just won't say anything. I ain't gonna have y'all judging me.
It's like, wow, Sean, why is your icon different on the PlayStation 5?
Game snitch.
Right. All right. Now that that is taken care of and you got all the latest gaming news from this past week, let us jump into the what we've been playing section. I don't know where I was going with that. All right. Well, there's two games. There's two big games that's been dropping and I've been playing. So let us start with the Black Myth Wukong. So Sean, where are you with Black Myth Wukong? How are you doing with this game? How's
Somewhere
it
in
treating
the
you?
fourth chapter, I think.
Are you in the fourth chapter? Oh, I guess you'd start if you beat Yellowbrow.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So I just started fourth chapter, but I'm going back and forth because as we were discussing earlier, this game is massive and very detailed. Even though they're I'm not gonna say it's reusing assets, but I mean a lot of it is similar in places, but
Yeah.
the environments are just large, and because there's no map, I think everybody's experience is
Wait until
different.
you
It's
get to
so
chapter 4.
I mean, I'm in
Wait.
there. I'm roaming around, and
Oh, okay, okay.
I don't quite understand, where I'm going, but like them
Yeah.
damn spider things in the X-axis are
Yeah, okay,
killing me.
okay. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um. Yeah, this game is so wide and varied, and because there's no map, I think everybody's experience is different. As you were saying earlier, you assume Savion he had mentioned some boss, and like, oh yeah, such and such, and he showed you, and you're like, I have no idea what the hell that is.
Yeah, right?
And then I think I mentioned some things to y'all, and you were like, even though y'all are like far, far ahead of me, I'm
Mhm.
taking my time and digging through every nook and cranny and just getting
Oh,
all that
yeah.
I can get. So
Oh, yeah.
this game is amazing, and I'd be surprised if it wasn't up for a Game of the Year nomination at the very least.
Yeah.
It's funny. I said this months ago. I feel like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is going to suffer from recency bias with games that came after it. It launched so early in the year.
Yeah.
January feels like a year or two ago at this point. Um,
Yeah, man.
but Black Myth Wukong is amazing, and it deserves at least something for their first big console AAA, effort, because this is very solid.
Yes. Like, it is it is insane how I'm gonna go ahead and just compare it to Elden Ring. It is insane how, for me, how much better of a, like, action adventure game this is compared to Elden Ring, in that, like, Elden Ring is a great game. Like, no shade to the developers, no shade to people who love Elden Ring. Like, props to you. But like, my main issue with Elden Ring is that it felt so unbalanced at random times, and it's just
Hmm.
like, why is this person, this random person, is so strong for what reason? And I feel like what Wukong does is scales at a like gradual rate throughout all the chapters, and it's just like you expect that the people you fight now are going to be a little more difficult. They're going to have a little bit more health, and like you have to deal with that. Like you also have these skill points that you can always respect and like focus more on your health, focus more on your stamina or your mana or whatever that you need to do at the time.
Hmm.
But it gives you that flexibility where it's like I felt like that flexibility was also given to you in Elden Ring, but it was always just for show, because making a mana or a magic build in Elden Ring was always just like pointless, in that you're going to get washed if you do it. Like you might as well just like go all health or, strength, dexterity, whatever. Like don't do mana. And I think in this game, when it gets hard, it gets hard. And it's just like, again, it feels like it is at this. I think with this, it does borrow a lot of the traits and elements from a Souls like, in that it is difficulty in the tracking of the
Hmm.
enemy's like attacks, and like figuring out when to parry, figure out when to dodge, figuring out not parry, figuring out when to dodge, figuring out when to attack, and just like living by that and not like attacking too much, because a lot of the stuff is animation based. So if Wukong is doing a move, you can't necessarily always dodge out of it at the same time or whatever. So all this stuff you have to like think about when you're fighting. And I enjoy games like that where I'm just like, okay, what am I doing next? Like, okay, this person's about to do this. Let me dodge out the way. And I felt like this game really nails that formula for me over like Elden Ring and the Souls like games. And it is kind of annoying for me knowing that the Elden Ring DLC came out this year, and I can already see Black Myth being overshadowed by by that DLC, because everybody just loved the DLC, and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so great, it's such an amazing thing, like this should be game of the year. And it's just like, okay, but that's just more of the same though, where like Black Myth is like putting you in a realm that you have more than likely never been in. Like
Yeah.
everything is new, everything is weird here, and like it all works super well. And like just to get into the actual story, like the it's always interesting to be in a situation where like you have to like effectively piece together like what's happening and like, oh, why is this person important? And I think even though they put you in the middle of that stuff, it still works relatively well where you're just like, okay, I kind of understand what's going on. Like, and I think it's great.
So,
I'm having a great time with the game.
so I'm not sure if I've encountered this yet, but the
Hmm.
way they approach difficulty for some things, apparently I haven't seen it. I've read about it. If you're beating bosses too fast, it will trigger a second phase. If you're struggling on them, the bosses only have one phase. And
Huh.
then apparently I'm reading the order in which the bosses are defeated affects the difficulty and triggers slightly different storylines. They put a lot of
Interesting.
stuff into this game.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Like, yeah, yeah. I mean, that I kind of feel that with like just the one I'm fighting a yellow long. If people who don't play the game have no idea what I'm talking about, people who do play the game, like he's supposed to be like one of the hardest people in the I guess one of the hardest bosses in the game to fight or whatever.
Hmm.
And I'm getting him down to like 10% health. Like I am putting work on him. But
Barely.
there was one there was one time where like mind you, at this point I've been fighting him for maybe 15 minutes like straight. He did the thing of like, now I'm going to add another move to this set of combos. Now I'm going to add another move to this set of combos. I was like, you didn't do that at all for the last like 10 to 15 games that I played with you. Where did this come from? And it's just like it's frustrating, but it's really like cool to know that like they have did their due diligence in making these bosses like tricky, making these
Accessible.
bosses. Yeah, yeah. And it's just like you don't know what you're gonna get until like you get them down to the last bit of health and they're like struggling, they're gonna be doing like all this crazy stuff. So yeah, like that part is really cool. I'm just enamored with this game. I'm just having such a great time with the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm on chapter 4. It's not really a spoiler. Like the chapter 4 is dealing with the Spider Sisters. So those who know Wukong's story understands like what it is, but it's happening after the Wukong story where the pig like kills the sisters or whatever, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a weird thing because I actually saw like a 30-minute like video of that of like from one of the movies or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then like to come play the game, I was like, oh, this happened after that. I know what's going on here. So yeah, it is just an interesting thing to see and like actually understand. Okay. So yeah, that's Black Myth. We are both enjoying it. We haven't beat the game. I foolishly said last week that we'd probably beat the game by this podcast, and I was foolish. So the other thing is Black Ops 6 beta, right? They dropped their you know, beta for the people who've pre-ordered, who have got it on Game Pass, and who got beta codes. I pre-ordered the game. I was kind of, on both sides because just like I don't really know. Black Ops is not really my game of choice. And then there's just the whole like Omni movement stuff. Um, Overall, I like the game. I think it is more black or is more Call of Duty. I think there's nothing really remarkable about the guns other than there's already a meta like SMG in the beta, where it's like really and truly you probably should be using that gun if you want to do anything close to medium range. Um, it's one of those things where I think the stuff really to talk about would be the new stuff would be the meat shield thing that we were talking about in the games news would be the Omni movement. I think the Omni movement is cool. I think it is a welcome addition to the general movement of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It's not as overpowering as I thought it would be. It is a thing of like there is some risk to doing it, and you kind of once you hit the ground, there's a little bit of a delay so you can get up. So you are kind of just at risk of being shot on the ground. And of course, once you're on the ground, you can't like shimmy or move or whatever. You're just kind of stuck there. So that kind of gives a nice balance to it. Um, it is really cool because I check out our shorts. I did a cool play where like I ran off, I jumped out of a window and I like did the side dive, I landed on my side and like shot the person that was going up the steps. So it's like it will give you cool moments like that. But again, like literally right after that happened, someone just like shot and killed me as I was getting up off the ground because like you can't really do too much other than just get up
I'm
off the
sure
ground.
somebody will figure out a way to jump,
Yeah.
slide, omni cancel, and
Oh yeah.
be flipping all over the place like no.
Oh yeah. It's already in the works. I know it's already in the works. But other than that, then you have the meat shield, which is the hostage like feature where you run up someone and you double tap your melee button, and that will trigger this thing where you're holding the person and you have your gun out and you're able to shoot while you're holding the person. I was able to trigger this thing about 4 times, and not a single time was I was able to kill a person that was shooting at me with this meat shield. And I don't know if they like reduce the damage that your bullets do or something while you're like in this whole like position kind of thing. But it felt like I was doing no damage to the people that were shooting at me. And
Yeah.
that part felt really, really weird in that like this doesn't seem right. I think the feature in itself.
Or you're just not as good as he thought you were.
No, I won't believe that. I won't believe that at all. And it's like it's a cool idea. I wonder how much utilization it will get beyond the memes. 'Cause I think the memes are going to be here because the idea is that if you haven't if you're listening to this and you didn't listen to our news section, there is voice chat between you and the person that you have as a hostage. So it's like a proxy thing. So they can hear you, you can hear them. So like that part is really cool and that can make for some like funny situations. But at the same time, it is a question of like how effective is this in actual like, you know, moment to moment gameplay when it comes to Call of Duty and how fast that goes. And I just ran into a couple of situations where I grabbed the person as a meat shield and some other teammate one of their teammates just ran around behind me and shot me in the back and killed me. And it's like, okay, well, that was kind of pointless. But yeah, overall, like this is more Call of Duty. Like you don't get any carryover skins from your old games if you've purchased any of those skins. So it is a fresh start. It kind of feels weird that this is a fresh start, but still within the Call of Duty HQ system. So at least for me, when I open up Call of Duty, I see Modern Warfare 3, then I have to click over to Black Ops 6. And it's like, this is all in the same system, yet they are purposely not allowing the skins to carry over, which is like really, really kind of annoying, especially with me that I bought the Gundam skin and I don't know when I'll be having that thing on because I don't know if I'm going to be playing Modern Warfare 3 or whatever because it just takes up too much space to have both games on my console.
And this is why you don't spend money on microtransactions.
Hey, man, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're really not wrong. So yeah, I mean, I think overall I enjoy Black Ops 6. I am going to be playing it because it's Call of Duty and it feels fine. It like I the issues I had was like the guns are old. These guns are not old. They feel fine. They feel like Modern Warfare 3 guns in a weird way. The perks are a little bit more straightforward. There's less negatives to the attachments for your guns feel more straightforward. There's less negatives for the attachments. But I will say that does put this game in a weird place where the more you play with a gun, the more of a like OP gun you'll end up with. So there will for sure be like super strong meta builds for each gun because it is a thing of you're just adding more power to the gun as the gun levels up and there's no real downsides to the stuff you're adding other than like I'm going to use a handle here versus a scope or something. So I think that's going to get a little weird, and I think there's going to be a lot of balancing happening with that. So that's the only negative that I really have with the game. But yeah, overall, it's fine. It's more Call of Duty. If you play Call of Duty, then you'll probably play this. You don't need me to tell you to play it. If you don't play Call of Duty and you're interested in playing Call of Duty, this will be a Call of Duty jump into, because you don't really, everything is kind of starting fresh.
No,
You
no,
don't have to
it's
really
never a good time to jump into Call of Duty. Everybody is just min-max. I feel like all the people who used to play Counter-Strike are in this, just flipping all over the place. I saw some clip of somebody using the hostage system to take sweats into the shower. This ain't a game. If you're not playing this already, if you haven't played this for a few years, I don't recommend it.
Yeah. Go try Concord. Give that some money. That game's officially dying, guys. It's dying. Yeah, there's roses growing out of its I don't know, whatever. Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's it. We nailed it. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Press X Start Gamers Digest as much as we enjoyed making this episode of Press X Start Gamers Digest. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I gotta highlight it. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Like the video. Do all those things in that order. Maybe not that order, but you have to subscribe first, and you get the notification bell. So do that in that order. If you're listening and you're just not doing anything else, but just listening, just chilling, zenning out, cool. Leave us a review. Whatever podcast service you're tuned in on. We greatly appreciate that. If you want, you can join our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. We have fun. Join us and having fun with us. Have fun. But yeah, that's it. All right. Take care. Be safe. Keep playing games. And press X to start. All right, I need to end this thing right now. Right now.
No matter what people say.